also don't just hit 500 balls without a thought.
Welcome to Earned Not Given.
Today we have the privilege of having one of the most energetic and influential teachers in junior golf. When I think of you, Gavin, I think of a guy that followed his passion, pursued something that is so important, which is you went after this quest to change the game. And you definitely did change the game in junior golf. For everyone that doesn't know who you are, obviously you're Gavin Parker, you're GAVINFLO as a tribute to your dad. But more importantly than that, you're a guy that makes everybody, when they're around you, more excited, more happy, more energetic. I'm so proud to have you on this podcast. In order to give some context for people, right? You won the Grow the Game Award for the state of Virginia, and we were just chatting before we went live. You got that, and you're probably going to talk about how when you got it, you were really small in growing the game, but that just kind of shines light on how far this game needs to go, and you're moving that needle for the entire industry. Besides the Growing the Game Award, in 2021, you won the Youth Development Award. Then you became Golf Digest Best Young Teacher. You became Golf Digest Best Teacher in the state. And to me, dude, really the best award that you have is you are just the most real human being on the planet. So thank you so much for being on this podcast, my man.
Hey, man. Thank you, Zach. That was a great intro, bro. Thank you, my cousin.
Yeah, man. Well, I'm not hosting the Tiger Woods Junior Invitational, and I'm not having my own TV show. So I'm just trying to hang in your little world. But for everyone that needs to know, like, let's go back in time. I got to know you around 2018, but before 2018, kind of how does GAVINFLO get into golf coaching? How did you get into golf? And then how are you ultimately, we'll talk about how you're changing the game, but let's go back to the roots and what made Gavin take up golf.
Yeah, man. So early stories, like I started in 7th grade. I was like a really good soccer player. And I played a little bit of travel events, and there was a game in particular where I was kind of coming down the sideline, and I was like a striker for it. So I was coming down to kind of enter the penalty area, and the goalkeeper came out excessively and like slide tackled me, and I broke my ankle. And like during the men, I was like, man, this sucks. And kind of like I was in the cast for like 6 to 8 weeks. And then after that, my dad was like, hey, man, we're going to put you in this golf program. And it was the first tee program. And he was just like, he wanted me to be a part of a tribe. He wanted me to like be a part of a group, keep up with my things, and put me in this golf program, bro. And like the moment I took a stick and hit the ball, it made this sound. And I was just like hooked, man. It was the sound for me, Zach. And now I'm like 12, participating every week. I'm really enjoying what golf afforded me, such as being outside, being with others. I actually enjoyed wearing collared shirts and belts, and then I like kind of practicing for the sake of practicing. And golf was one of those things where like every single time, like I don't know, at least for the beginners, like golf's one of those things. It's like once you start getting it, you get really good, and then you become like you can start repeating it, and it just becomes so addicting. So like I remember the quest of like, you know, the first time I hit like 9 balls in a row, that felt good, or like the first time I kind of got in the tee, got off the tee like consistently, and then right around like 14, 15, man, I kind of got coached out of being really good. And it wasn't for a lack of trying on my part. It was that at the time, I didn't know about repetitions without the same repetitions. I didn't understand cause and effect. You know, if I hit a bad golf shot, the jargon that was spewed to me was like the old adage of man, you didn't keep your head down. Dude, you're just getting too quick from the top, bro. Like, that's all you're doing. You're getting too quick from the top. You're swinging too fast. And I was like, this can't be why I suck right now. So then years and years of that put me down a rabbit hole. Then, you know, like early 2012, YouTube kind of came prevalent. So then, you know, I don't know a lot of people who've watched more YouTube golf instruction than I have. And that's almost where I got to like who I am now and kind of molded myself now. But like basically, man, Wasn't a really good junior golfer. Really struggled. Went to college at Campbell University, where I learned under David Orr, and that was like the first person I've ever seen like coach for the sake of coaching. Like he was a fine line between being a golf teacher and a golf coach, and he did a great job of just inspiring me to learn more about the game. So then from there, read the Golfing Machine, spent a lot of time with the Stack and Tilt dudes, started reading a lot of Michael Hebron. And that dude, one of my favorite books of all time is The Golf Lies, Secrets, and Myths. And this book is like, I mean, bro, the book's like that big. And like, dude, I'm reading it cover to cover. Like, I loved it. So then that's kind of how I found into coaching. And then when I was at Campbell, because I'm a PGA member, we had to do these internships. And I did these 3 internships. And when I first went to college, man, I was like, yeah, I want to be a golf pro. Like golf pro. I want to wear khakis. I want to wear loafers. I want to run tournaments. And then after doing an internship where I wasn't doing any of that, I was just cleaning balls and doing outside ops, I quickly realized I enjoy talking to others. And then my second internship, I actually interned at a place where I got to be a part of a junior golf program. And that's when I found my affinity. That's when I realized that, dude, I love being able to galvanize young people and to pump enthusiasm into a space and to exude joy. And like the rest is history, bro. From that time on, I was like, yo, junior golf is my calling, man. And then fast forward to 2015 is when I graduated. I got hired to run the same junior golf program that I interned my second year. And at the time, Zach, it was one of the largest junior golf camps on this side of the East Coast, where we had 9 weeks of camps and we saw about 80 kids a week. And I had a team of 12 interns. And like, bro, I'm 23 at the time. I had 3 interns that were older than I was. I've never been, I was never been anyone's boss before. And 2016 was one of the craziest years of my life because I started my own academy. And all my interns went back to school. And I thought it'd be a great idea of like each 9 weeks, we would have like an award ceremony. And I would get up there and tell all the parents, hey, if your kids had a great time this week, we're going to have a parent orientation at the end of August about a new program that we're going to launch in the fall, where I'm going to use this program called Operation 36. And bro, I did that every week for 9 weeks. And that orientation, we had like 56 families attend that first meeting. And then by the end of the semester, like my first fall class, bro, I had like 98 kids who would see me once a week for 12 weeks. And we would do classes Mondays through literally Sundays. And all my interns went to school. So I was like, yo, Dad, I got like 10 kids in this class. You want to be my coach? And then Coach Flo started joining me. So now my dad and I created this golf academy together on August 16th, 2016, man. We became official, bro. And then it grew rapidly. And then a country club down the road basically gave me an offer I could never refuse. They wanted to pay me to run the same program that I'm doing down the street, and the rest is history. I've been at Salisbury Country Club for the last 6 years. Since then, my dad has passed, but it has allowed me to pay tribute to him. Mainly, that's why I call myself GAVINFLO. My middle name's Flotilla, so to honor my pops is GAVINFLO to the internet. And Gavin Parker himself is pretty enthusiastic and pretty energetic, and GAVINFLO is just like I would say a more intense version of that.
It's amazing, man. That journey is remarkable, man. And still to this day, I think the thing that stands out to me the most is when I first met you and we were chatting back and forth and I was watching you interact with some of these kids. You did it in a different way. You brought energy, right? You made it fun. You made them realize that you didn't have to be a golfer to be great at golf. You didn't have to have this, I know you talked about wearing the khaki pants and the loafers, but you made golf cool to a lot of kids that maybe normally would have chosen another sport, or the reality in the world today, you made golf cool to a lot of kids who would have just been staying inside. So what do you think it was, or is it just innate that allowed you to create an environment that when I looked at those kids, maybe you were taking kids from baseball, maybe you're taking kids from hours and hours of playing Fortnite, but what was it that allowed you to get down on the floor with every kid and then celebrate their successes and teach them that while getting better at golf is cool, really what your program inspired me to see is that you taught kids how to be the best version of themselves in that class. It wasn't that they learned how to hit a golf ball. It's that they learned they could do anything that they put their mind to.
Dude, Zach, that's man, I really feel like I didn't know it at the time, man, but I've always had a calling that I am meant to exude joy and enthusiasm. And just following that calling has allowed me to get to a point, man, where like at the end of the day, Zach, I'm the best babysitter in the world. Like I am the best babysitter in the world, especially as a cheerleader. There's no one who could become a better hype person than I am in terms of that capacity. And I quickly realized that, like, dude, intrinsically, I am motivated by golf. Like, I think it's really cool to take a stick and whack it. And when I was a younger kid, like, I wasn't that proficient at the golfing skill. However, I was in an environment with other people who I looked up to, who are at least I deemed were cool, that I like being a part of that tribe, man. Like as humans, man, we are, especially kids, man, we want to seek pleasure and avoid pain. And golf is at odds with that. So like for me and my dad and my boy Corey, we're about like this moment. We're celebrating this moment with this child. And we're fighting for our lives of like what play is for. And we're really trying to work on repurposing the word fun, man, because that word is so overused and it kind of sucks when you only use that to like define a child's experience, which is trash sometimes, man, because like fun is so many different types of funds, man. And like using that word as the judge, jury, and executioner does a disservice to what play is really for. Because I can tell you, Zach, and you can tell me too, man, it's like, sure, it's really, really fun to play golf, but it's not fun when you're not good at it. It's not fun when you're losing. So if we're only doing things for like to make golf fun, we're going to lose kids in the long run. Can you make things that's more compelling? Can you create like hostile environments or harmony or collaboration? Like that's a better version of what we want to do in our junior golf programs. And as a byproduct, kids might experience that word fun, but it's different for all of the kids that come to my class. Like for some kids, it could just be fun that, they know that we're going to be pumping the music. Some kids, it might be fun because they know as soon as I see them, I'm going to say the same joke I say every time, which is like, yo, Hudson, you look familiar, Hudson. Where do I know you from? Oh, yeah, the parking lot. Oh, yeah. Did you eat your chocolate mini muffins? Like kids like that, like that's like, that could be fun for some kids. Some kids like to know that, I know Coach Gavin and Coach Corey are going to make us do an end of day mission. I hope that I can win it today. And like that anticipation is like what fun is, bro. It's the anticipation of a reward. And I'm really working on this year is like to eliminate that word from our programs, man. Cause like I am so tired of, did you have fun today, Johnny? No, Johnny ain't have fun. Johnny was about to have fun, but he lost the end of day mission because he didn't follow the rules. Like it's so much deeper than that. So, but I think for me, at least when I was brought up, my mom and dad did such a great job of instilling values into my sister and I, where morally, like obviously we need to take things serious or not serious, but like there's always like, man, the golden rule is such a testament to the Parkers, man. Like treat doing to others as you want to be done unto you. And like I remember being a junior golf coach a junior golfer being so bored that I am constantly, being coerced into doing the thing that this taskmaster, aka coach or counselor, wanted me to do. And I'm like, bro, I don't want to do this. Like this isn't playful. And it's disingenuous as me to keep that same theme So over the last couple of years, I've been so fortunate to study um, like the aesthetics of play, different play scholarships, the rhetorics of it, that like basically play is how we created culture and how we were able to deal with being so neurotic as like human beings. Like we got to do some of our time being here on earth. So like how do you do that? Oh, you create a culture of other people who like say things like this, or excuse me, people like us say things like this. And now you and I are together. So now we can kind of blend and vibe. And like that's the bigger thing that will like what golf is missing is like you said earlier is like, yo, everyone wants to grow the game of golf, but how do you do it? And how we do it is with autotelic rhetoric, man. Like we are making stories. We're allowing kids to experience winning and losing and how to deal with losing. It's such a quick succession, and how to handle that internal dialogue is like, bro, I just took an L and it's horrible. But thank God my parents aren't around to see me do it badly, because now we're giving kids a very important moment to like, kids don't want to disappoint their parents. So it's important to deal with that losing in their own private way. So like, down the road, we got these kids who are resilient and a little bit more gritty. So that's really how we get to where we are. And like, I appreciate you, because when you saw those videos I was doing, man, I really was hyped to see these kids like try something new, man. Like it was sick, man. It really was.
Yeah, and I think when you talk about fun, right? I think it's amazing how you're trying to reframe the way that word's used, or even eliminate the way the word's used. But the word that kind of pops into my mind when I think of you and Corey and what you and your dad created, I think at the core of what you guys did is gamification. And you're a mastermind in creating environments where the game does the teaching. So if you could kind of explain a little bit about the journey you went on from, hey guys, we're all going to stand here in a line and we're all going to learn how to grip it, and then we're all going to stand in a line and learn how to get the move away right. You went at it in a different way, and you said, let me create this environment that's, to the outside person that doesn't study the way that you and I study, it looks chaotic. It looks actually disorganized. But at the principle of what you do, I think is gamification. So if you could kind of explain how you gamified your training to teach these kids truly what you wanted to teach them.
Yeah, man. I think really Operation 36, Ryan Daly, Matt Reagan were the first individuals to introduce to me gamification. And then with gamification, there's basically like 8 core drives of human behavior. And at that time, man, I was like, okay, gamification is pretty important. It's a very I guess shallow end of the spectrum when it comes to games overall. We're now evolved into games where gamification, for people who don't know, is just like assigning a point badge or leaderboard, and it's basically for kids. It's putting outcomes somewhere, and that loop is so enticing for a child. Such as, all right, I could be on a driving range just hitting a ball for the sake of hitting a ball. And then as a coach, if you could deem an area or a space as like something that's desirable for them to achieve, for them to recognize that and to keep going, it's very powerful as a motivator to see the progress. So like, hey, if you can hit this ball in the air, put an X on this whiteboard or flip a cone over, the act of doing this to get that is very, very motivating. But on the long run, that doesn't keep happening over and over, where some people need they're motivated by avoiding something or losing it, right? Like if I were to give you $5, that's lit. But if I were to take $2 away, that hurts twice as much than earning something. So then I quickly realized, and this isn't to bash anything that I've done, is that, if you are only celebrating the traits of the environment, whether you're winning or how far the ball's going or how many you have made, you're going to lose sight of the kids who aren't physically gifted in their dexterity or their coordination. So like the kids who've never played golf or never held a golf club before, there's no way they can thrive in those environments. So I'm watching these kids and I'm pumping them up. It's like, hey, this is how you're going to win. We're doing a bunch of relay races. And then I'm realizing, like, okay, this isn't fair. How can I create a win state where all kids have a chance? And that led me to a cat who's way smarter than I am. This guy named Richard Franklin, who is a game designer. And he started showing me games as a series of meaningful choices to quantifiable outcomes. And those outcomes are based on like randomness, choices, different player interactions, or even luck. So then now, as a coach, you look at like any constraint-based coaching model where we all know that once you can create a variety of skills within in an environment, you start to acquire different proficiencies. Like that's where real skills come from, is like variability amongst a task. And though if you can embark those tasks with some emotional resonance, such as drawing a dinosaur or creating some artwork behind it or putting a story or a theme, now it's going to entice kids to allow memories to be made because they have such a positive experience. So now their brains become malleable to allow coaches to go in there and give them different technical feels to start experiencing the skillful acts of golf. And that just took a lot of hard work, because as most golf coaches, we're going to try to look for, the bare minimum to get the kids out. And this is good enough, where it really had to evolve to really creating games, man. And like I said, gamification is great. It was a great start just to put outcomes somewhere, but to get kids coming day in and day out and to compete against like a Fortnite or any screen or any other sports, you got to have really close proximity to other people, and you got to have win states that aren't just deemed to the person who has the most skill. That's where most junior golf goes to fail, is driving ranges, because the only way to win anything is whoever can hit it the farthest or hit it the closest or make the most, where that's not going to do justice for most kids. So
that's
I
amazing,
would suggest, yeah.
You were going to say, what were you going to suggest? I don't want to cut you
Man,
off.
I forgot what I was about to say.
All right, well, let me ask you
I was
this.
about to just go into, yeah.
I think you just explained something that's so important for golf coaches watching, but ultimately parents, hopefully junior golfers watching, is through your journey, you evolved. And that's also what these kids or these athletes are doing when they come to your training sessions, is they're evolving, right? If they come as a certain skill and they leave with the same skill, that's kind of a fail, right? If you started your coaching career with these sets of principles and these beliefs, and you're still teaching those same things 10 years down the track, that's a big problem, right? So I guess my question to you is, like, you found your calling, you figured out your passion, but if you had to suggest, right, because not every athlete in the world has the ability to come and see you and Corey, what are the traits or what are the qualities that are essential in these athletes looking for a coach or a cultivator of an environment?
Wow. So I would say, oof. And this is something Corey and I talk about a lot at length, man. It's like, during this journey, man, an unintended consequence is, at least in my realm, is like I have lost a lot of core golfer families. Our core golfers are like kids who perceive themselves as, they want to take golf more serious, or they want to take it to the next level, where like kids like that, man, they don't really need to be taught or told any, like they just want to enjoy the grind of golf, right? I think that's like those kids have those traits is just like, hey, I want to get better. I want to be coached. Where I spend a lot of time with the kids who maybe get picked last at like kickball. They're a little bit more intellectual. They don't want to be outside. They rather be reading or playing Minecraft, right? Or maybe it's the girl who doesn't want to do gymnastics or dance anymore because she's burned out and like, I want to try something else. Like, give me those kids who are just willing to try something new. I know it's tough to look silly in front of others, and that's like a huge red flag to a lot of kids on trying anything new or if their friends are doing it. But I think for Corey and I, the traits that we look for is just kids who want to be kids, man. And I think that's the thing that I got to recognize and I got to remind myself every day is like, kids supposed to be kids. They want to seek pleasure. They want to avoid pain. So I think our main traits are just like, we want to, when your kids leave us, man, they have more empathy to others. They have a little bit more heightened sense of emotional intelligence because they're going to deal with losing every time they come to our class. We give out winners. We give out club challenges for maybe 4 to 8 kids, and the other kids got to sit there. And when they don't win, it's not because they're not good at the thing, or they're never gonna win, or they have some self-fulfilling like, oh, blame other people. They lost mainly because of their strategy, or it really was lucky today. It really was random. You had you couldn't control it, man. Whoever get the knife ball in wins. Oh my God, you happen to be going now. It's your turn. Like that's kind of what starts to happen. And I feel like I did a horrible job of answering your question because I mean, Corey and I, there's not really traits. We don't really turn anyone down. If anything, we just talk to a couple parents and let them know that, this is exactly what we're delivering. And this is the truth we want to celebrate. And if you're looking for something where you want a means to an end, or you want your kid to have a plan or a path, we have a program that's catered to that. And then most of the kids who do claim to fall in that elite or that junior level, when they're actually in class, you can tell that they're just going through the motions. They really don't want to be good. They're just here to, they're here to be here. And the kids that really want to be good, they're doing the things outside of class to be great. But the kids that want to come and vibe with me in the flow show, it's cool to see.
Yeah, and so if you and Corey are trying to hire another member of your team, what are some of the traits that you look for from your coaches? What does a coach have to possess to be a part of that flow tribe?
Bro, we do this all the time. A coach cannot have sweater vest energy, which is like, like like you can't have sweater vest energy. So like that's off rip. Like Corey and I need people who can pump the juice. They got a little swagger. Do you wear joggers? Are your shirts tight fitting? Do you go to the gym? Like that's something Corey and I take very serious, bro. Like it's gonna be hard to find 2 golf coaches who are as physically fit as Corey and I are. And how serious we take our fitness so that we can perform when it's time to do these summer camps, man. When we got to build out these environments, we're carrying these rods. We need coaches who are willing to, like, there's nothing that Corey and I wouldn't do ourselves that we wouldn't ask anybody else to do. Like we're gonna stop and make sure, oh my goodness, you got a boo-boo. Okay, this is how you put a boo-boo on, and this is how we talk to kids when it's time to put a boo-boo. You know what I'm saying? Like this is a Band-Aid. We need people who are willing to be like, I don't want to call it silly, but like kids love it when you go for a high five and then as they're doing a high five, you take your hand away. Like they're like, oh, this guy's cool. You know what I'm saying? Like we need people who are willing to do that in that capacity. And that's something I think we're really excited about is like we got a lot of kids who watch me or even watch Corey and they start adapting what we would do. And that's kind of what happens, man. Yeah, it's actually so exciting, man. We got kids who talk the way like I was saying earlier, we built a culture within a culture. Is like for us, our junior golf life cycle has evolved from, okay, hey, you got a kid who's like 4 to 12, then they kind of get 14 to 17, right around 15, 17, they kind of age out of junior golf. But when our kids turn 16 to 17, some of them, when they age out of junior golf, they might not go on to play high school or even collegiate golf, but they might become game engineers with Corey and I. So now they're 16, 17, and they maybe just are golf adjacent. And they want to be a part of the same tribe that we're creating, and they want to be a part of our classes and our flow. And that's kind of what we look for. And so, like, basically, we're looking for non-sweater vest energy, people who can pump the juice, and then you got to have some type of physical prowess. And if you don't have that, you at least got juice.
Love that, man. And I think that encapsulates what a transformational leader is, right? Like, you want your athletes to put in extra time. You want your athletes to value their physical fitness, their mental health, their emotional health. And I think you and Corey definitely do that. And there's probably no greater thank you or no greater testament to what you do than when you start to see kids modeling your behavior and you start to see kids behaving like you. It's pretty awesome. I think
it's also scary.
Yeah, but I mean, at the root of what you do, for people that don't know you, which would be hard because you are a social media influencer, you are someone that people would have to be living under a rock not to have seen some of your content or consume some of your content. But one of my favorite things that you do in a lot of your videos, right, whether it's TikTok or Instagram or it's YouTube, you do these things that in the industry are perceived as difficult, and then you end it with golf's not that hard, right? So tell us a little bit about where Gavin came up with the golf's not that hard.
Man, so I actually had a member at my club in the spring of 2022 that was like, yo, dude, you should try this series where you like kind of at the time, I don't know if you remember, I think Ryan Hagan did it, but he basically made this post where he had like every single training aid on. Like he had everything on, like
Tin
clubs
cup
and
style,
stuff.
right?
Yeah, tin cup style, made a video. And like my guy said it to me, was like, bro, you should make a video. So it's like, yo, golf doesn't have to be this hard. Like people are like making it overly simple or overly complicated. And I was like, okay, cool. And then when I started, like I kind of replayed it. And then over time, it kind of got to, I was like, yeah, man, just like keep it simple. Don't be too crazy. Like golf's not that hard. Like at the end of it, man. And it got a lot of traction. And the guy at my club, his name's Jason Eady. He's a dear friend. He gave me the idea. It wasn't mine. And what's really crazy is like after I did that and started to like see some traction on social media, people would send me like the Tiger Woods one that came out a couple of years ago when Tiger was like, yo, golf's just not that hard. And like I never saw that before. And I thought that was
Maybe
so
he did
cool.
it after he saw your stuff, bro. You never know.
Yeah, nah, man. It was Young Tiger. But no, that's really where it came from, man. And I think I put so much into that, and hindsight being where I am now, man, it's like, man, like it's so crazy how like you got to evolve, and social media is even quicker. Like stuff like that, it's like, man, it's almost old news now, man. It's like you gotta come up with the next thing. But yeah, dude, that's kind of how Golf's Not That Hard kind of came out. And I'm very appreciative because it really helped get my name out there, man. And I'm just so tickled to be in this space now where I think the window of it's closing for like golf influencers and golf men is like it's closing. I'm glad to have a footprint in there. I'm glad to at least have a lane. And then over the next couple of years, I'm looking forward to watching how YouTube golf kind of transcends and kind of takes it to the next level. And I'm just so grateful to be a part of that community. And I've been staying sharp with my game. So that's kind of how Golf's Not That Hard came out, man. I was trying to make a hook. I was trying to go viral, and it became very successful and obviously used. And then now it can be applied to so many different likes. So, fitness isn't that hard. Podcast isn't that hard. Like it's it's almost like, read it again. It's just reinforced, man. Reinforcing that, like, at the end of the day, it's really not that hard. Yes, it's hard. We all know it's hard, but like, it is as hard as you make it.
Yeah, well, let's talk about that because I think you're tagline of golf's not that hard, but becoming an influencer is not easy. And you have over 200,000 followers on TikTok. You're pretty close to that on Instagram. You played in the Good Invitational out in the desert. You are definitely not just having a footprint in the world of golf influencers. You are one of the prominent golf influencers. So how did you create this opportunity? I mean, I went and looked back and I tried to find the moment where you started, and I'm sure you sometimes go on that journey and you think, man, that first video I made was trash or now, but I think you really have figured out a way to create content that's digestible. It's not dumbed down by any means. I've seen you do incredible short form posts on extremely complex movements, whether that's talking about ground force, or that's talking about some biomechanical move, or that's talking about some club delivery thing, or how to create spin. So how did you first choose to become this golf influencer? And then how did you crush it the way that you've crushed it?
Wow, Zach, dude, I need to talk to you every day because you make me feel just like I'm just cooking right now. But
Well, you are
what's
cooking,
really
man.
crazy,
I wish I should have sent you a chef's hat, so you could have just sat in here in your little chef's hat and just cooked it up.
Hey, just had it. Yeah, man. What's really crazy is in 2017, I'll never forget, it was August 18th, 2017. I'm actually at Salisbury at this point, and it was 2 years after the anniversary of like when my dad and I started the academy together. And I gave this guy a lesson. He was probably like 41, 42 at the time. And we're like 30 minutes into our lesson. Within the first 4 minutes, like, I mean, all he wasn't doing, man, was just like not turning his rib cage enough. You know, so like just his arms were getting pinned. He was coming over. I was like, dude, Jeff just turned. He just turned. He got it. And then like during the lesson, he was like, yo, Gavin, man, you should post to social media a little bit more, bro. And I was like, man, who is this old dude telling me I need to post more? And he was like, no, I'm serious, Gavin. You should post. Like, pull up your Instagram. What's the last time you post? And remember, our lesson's like August 17th. And my last post that I posted on Instagram was like May 17th. And he was like, yo, and like now I'm driving, like our lesson's over. I'm driving him to his car. And he goes, dude, you should post to social media every day for a year and just see what happens. And I was like, all right, bro, whatever. And then as I'm dropping him off at his car, he's like in a McLaren. So I was like, oh my God, like, okay, Jeff, like, who are you, bro? And at this time, bro, I had 389 followers, and I posted every day for a year. And then August 18th, 2019, I had like, I think 1,800 followers. And then I kept posting, and then now 2020, I just got to like 4,000. And then I kept posting, and now it's like 2022. I'm thinking of Instagram specifically, and I got to like 8,000, and then I went from like 8,000 to 60,000 in like 2 weeks, and then from 60,000 to 100,000 in like another 2 weeks, and then from there it just exploded. But it wasn't a combination of one thing. It started with the habit of like, hey, posting every day for a year. And then that turned into posting every day for 2 years. And then TikTok came out. And at the time, it's like early, bro, I think it was early 2020. Like I downloaded TikTok in like 2019, but like early 2020, I saw a huge flow where I went from like 500 followers to like 10,000 followers in like a week. And then TikTok got to like 30,000. And then once I started my Golf's Not That Hard series, that really jumped to where it is now. And then now it just was a combination of the perfect storm, man. I had the right coaching, I had the right camera person, and then I just got really good at just luckily about like making 7 to 9 second quicks. And then I had a guy who just made it very consumable. And then at the time, bro, I was also dealing with some mental health issues I didn't know about. So I was extremely manic. So it made it a lot easier to work. So like I was doing a lot of crazy work, man. So I made 27 TikToks every week for 22 weeks. And here I am 2 years later, and I'm still living off those residual effects where like I can honestly say within the last like 8 months, I haven't really created any original stuff to that clip. But I'm still able to, um, entertain brand deals and entertain offerings and outings because of all the work that was done in 22. So now here I am now, a couple years removed, and now it's like, hey, I got to get back to telling my own story because I feel like I've now evolved to a point on social media where, I'm a golf coach on there, where like I'm so much more. And I feel like in my day to day life, I'm very much of a social media personality, but on social media, I'm a little bit more of reserved and just golf pro. So I want to evolve that over the next couple months and years to, be a little bit more holistic and really be myself on there. And I feel like I did like you say, when it all started, it's like my posts and my schedule has changed a little bit. So I'm ready to adapt and become a little bit more less dynamic on social media.
That's amazing, man. And I think that journey, and you even being honest to talk about how you were manic and how some of those tendencies, while you had to work through that, sometimes adversity leads to success, right? And that's what you were talking about in your junior golf programs. You were talking about how you have to learn to win, you have to learn to lose, but you kind of just told us something that's amazing, and I want to know, man. So you're going to start to share who Gavin is on social media, and you're going to evolve who this personality is, more not just a golfer, right? So for people that watch your stuff, you're doing a Murph the other day. You never miss a Monday with your family, right? You always show up for those things. So what are those things that the people that obviously love you and pay attention and consume your content know you as the golfer, the guy that can change their golf swing in 9 seconds with something that they watch on repeat? Or the reality is you probably don't even know the butterfly effect you've had of coaches around the world that see your content and then they try and do it themselves, or they take your ideas and they're starting to do the same thing that those junior golfers in your programs are doing, which is modeling you. And that's, I'm sure, extremely flattering.
It's so awesome, man. I gotta find this video. I'll send it to you. But there's like a Indian golf coach who makes videos, and he has like word for word used probably like 12 of my videos, and I love it, bro. Like he even says golf's not that hard. It's like the same. It's really cool. But it is really flattering, man. I went to the PJ show this past year, and this past year at the PJ show, I wasn't a media personality. I was just Gavin Parker, the PJ member who brought his mom. And like it was cool to just connect with so many people. It was like, man, I love your videos. It kind of inspired me to do what I'm doing. But like for me, man, I want to show more light to like what's going on in my personal life, man. It's like, yeah, I got a girlfriend of like 3 years. She has 2 kids. I'm working on becoming step poppy of the year over here, man. So like, showing light to that. Um, Showing light to like how much time I love my family, right? Like I love them, like why I do that. Also, like a little bit more about myself, like why I don't miss a Monday, why I like doing the Murph, and like where I get kind of my energy from, man. But also, dude, just being real, dude. It's like I also I have some mental health issues that I'm battling. I didn't know I wasn't like I found out I'm like bipolar. So I didn't know I went unmedicated bipolar for almost 29 years and had no idea. I just thought I had a lot of energy, which I did, but I didn't. So like, and how that affected my personal life, man, and what's the long term effect of having all this energy and having all this excitement and having all this hype, and it led me to like not being able to sleep, and then when I don't sleep, bad things happen, and I'm not able to perform at the way I'm supposed to perform. And then at the same side of it, dude, is like social media is really cool, but it's also like people only just show the best parts of their lives on there, man. Like there's days where I'm not pumped up. There's days where I'm not like the most juiced. There's days where golf is hard, bro. It's just sharing light to that, man. I think I have a um, unique story of the standpoint where I became like the 113th person of color to join the PGA of America. I have an affinity towards golfing. I actually am lucky to be an influencer in this space. I have a really cool dynamic with my dad and I, who kind of started a golf academy together. I have a little sister who's better at golf than I am, and she's a better writer than I am, and she's also in the golf space. I have a mom who was the primarily like breadwinner in my family. My dad was kind of a stay-at-home dad. So like that was really cool. Where like if I had to go on any type of field trip, my dad's the one with me. He would eat lunch with me at school. Like I just spend so much time with my dad. And like I just feel like the internet's a place where for Gavin Parker, I want to share light on to like what gets me going and like what I'm actually struggling with too, man. Like I don't wake up every day just the most disciplined, the most motivated person in the world. Like I have days when I'm struggling, but I think what starts to happen is I find myself in these moments where when I actually, take care of myself and I get the proper amount of sleep, I put my sleep tape on, I get to do this Murph prep. And the Murph prep for me isn't just about doing Murph. It's like what everything has to go into to be able to put on 25 pounds, to run a mile, to do 100 pull-ups, to do 200 push-ups, to do 300 air squats, and then to do another mile. I love the process of what it takes to get there. And then that gets me prepared for the summer where I can just keep cooking, man. And I just want to exude enthusiasm and joy in everything that I do. And that's like my North Star. And to a lot of people, it can come off as like not serious or this guy is not real, but it's like, dude, this is who I am. And oof, I just am so appreciative and so grateful to all the people in my life who have really asked me, yo, Gavin, how are you? And that's such an important thing because there's been a many a day, Zach, where like I haven't been okay, and I'm pretending that I was for the fact of trying to like I didn't want to disappoint people that, yo, Gavin, you're not smiling today. Yo, Gavin, you're not excited today. It's like, yo, Gavin's kind of struggling today, bro. And that's like a lot of people don't realize that with people who are overly enthusiastic or overjoyed, it's like, dude, they get a little jiggy too. And for me, it's those days don't happen frequently, but when they do, it's often interesting to me is like when I'm actually feel like I'm at the most at peace, when I feel like I'm the calmest, I'm a little quieter. I'm a little stealer, and people are like, are you okay, Gavin? You're not being yourself. I'm like, yo, I'm actually pretty content. And like when I'm not speaking a lot, it's really awesome. So that's what I hope to show more of. It's just like, yo, dude, I'm a guy, man. That's all I am. I'm just a guy who gets really excited and wants to share that with other people. And he's been given these power pellets. They're kind of like Pac-Man power pellets, man. Pac-Man spends the whole game being chased by Ghost Zach, but then Pac-Man hits those little corners, man. He eats the power pellets, and the whole dynamics of the game change. And I feel like I get 4 power pellets a day, and I want to show other people how to get their power pellets and use them for good.
Dude, I'm so grateful, but at the same time, I'm so pissed off that you're through a screen right now because all I want to do is give you a huge hug and say thank you for that because dude, that's amazing. You being so vulnerable and you being willing to understand that you have this platform and you created this platform while maybe not knowing, what those power pellets were or how you were getting those power pellets or how you were even surviving in the game without the power pellets. But the fact that you've evolved into who you are in a social media space and then you have the ability to share your story, I think is so powerful. Something, I'm going to cut this up, and I'm definitely going to show it to my daughter and explain, look, becoming an influencer is an amazing thing, but being vulnerable and being able to take the privilege of the stage that you have, be authentic, and let people resonate with what you have is incredible. So in this world of you evolving, right? You're incredible, man, and your story is amazing, but your vulnerability is probably at the highest of what makes you so awesome. And I think that energy that you bring is incredible, but that energy is also sometimes a challenge for you, and just like the kids in practice, right? So that energy, though, has led you to do some amazing things, right? This year you hosted the Tiger Woods Junior Golf Invitational, right?
So dope, bro. So dope, Zach. I will remember October 11th and 12th for the rest of my life, because that morning, it was a Sunday. I was on the West Coast in Pebble. Um, I woke up at 4:15 a.m. West Coast time. I had my camera, he was my agent now. My man Wyatt was coming with me, and I got up, bro, and I ran for probably 2 hours all over Del Monte Golf Course. I went in the gym. I did like a whole Murph, and then like got back, had a cup of coffee, ironed my socks, bro. Like I mean, I I ironed everything, and I remember pulling up 17-mile drive, getting on a golf course, and like I was co-hosting with Tisha Lynn, Tish. Gotta remember that it's not Tisha in case you ever meet her. Tish, she was my co-host, and I like did some research on her, and I get out the car and I see her walking, and then I just see Eldrick, and like the air got colder, bro.
Yeah.
Like I was like, bro, that's dude right there. And I remember pulling up, and I'm myself, man. I'm smiling, talking to everybody, and the manager from the TGR Foundation goes, "Yo, you guys ready to meet Tiger?" And I'm like, dude, of course. Like I can't wait. And I pull up, I shake his hand. I say, "I'm Gavin Parker." He goes, "Well, I'm Tiger Woods." And then he goes, "What kind of ball flight do you play?" And I was like, "Dang, bro, I hit draws." And then I looked at it, I was like, "I hit pools." And I'm not gonna lie, bro. I'm struggling a little bit right now. He said, "I am too." Um, and then we just sat there, and as soon as he kind of said that, a kid hit a hole in one. So we all kind of went crazy. And then Will Lowry was there as well. And I don't know if you've met Will Lowry before, but Will's always been a big bro in the game, and he really he would bring another conversation with Tiger, and he would kind of talk to us, and like, bro, he like talked to us for like 20 minutes. He talked, I didn't talk, bro. If you can imagine that, Zach, I just sat there all googly eyed, bro. Just
That's
like,
amazing.
it's crazy. Yeah, he talked about like the David Beckham documentary that him and Sam were watching together, and then he went like on a huge rant about Raymond Floyd telling him how to dig it in the ground on chips, and why he doesn't use the bounce, and how like when he made his wedges, he got all of them like almost 2 degrees of bounce on there because he wants to dig it, and so he can hit these low spinners. And when he made this golf hole right here, he was like, "Yeah, I knew kids were gonna get hole in ones on here today because I put this hole." Like, I had no idea this dude's like a legit golf nerd, bro. Like nerd, like he said some things I would never think about. And then after that, I was tasked with being the starter, and I made all 60 kids feel like they were the most important person in the world. Like I talked to mom and dad, I talked to little sister, I talked to grandma, grandpa, and like every kid I got to announce their name. I made sure that everybody in Monterey, California, hear it.
That's amazing, man. That's amazing. And I think you're obviously extremely successful on social media. You found a niche creating content, but watching you in that environment and watching you thrive, knowing that the host was yourself, but really the the real host was Tiger Woods, who I'm sure was your idol, like all of our idols. And in that moment, you stepped up and you absolutely crushed it. So I'm excited for someday when we're seeing you, not just introducing those 60 kids there in Monterey, but when someone's putting a microphone in your hand and following you around, and maybe there's an opportunity for you, the way you change the game of junior golf. I hope that you have the opportunity to change the way that people consume the professional content. I hope you have a platform where you can help golf, because I think there's certain people have callings, and I think your calling is to transform the way that this game is. You did it at the junior level. You obviously showed you can do it hosting an event like Tiger's event. And who knows, maybe when Yasser and Jay finally get their shit together and we know what's going to happen in the world of golf, maybe GAVINFLO's the guy with the mic and we don't necessarily have to listen to Brandel Chambly anymore.
Bro, yeah, man, that'd be man, Zach, that'd be so cool, man. I had a call with a executive of the PGA Tour a couple weeks ago. You know, we always get like those elevator pitches, like this is your one moment to like sell yourself, bro. I really, man. So hopefully, there will be opportunity where I'll be broadcasting live, because like that's like that would be so cool. Like I just that would be just a dream come true. But like at the same time, what I'm building at Salisbury is even more important. Man, I'm never leaving there. What's the long term effect of celebrating flow? And what flow is to us is like, doing it for the sake of doing it, not to be the best, not to be the greatest. But right now in this moment, you want to do it. And that's the essence of flow. And that's the power pellets. That's what my dad instilled into me and Corey. And that's all we want these kids at the end of the day. It's like, dude, you felt that? Yeah, that was flow.
Yeah, man. Well, I got to be honest. I think this podcast and listening to you, and hopefully for the people that get to consume it, they can understand that this can be one of their power pellets, because your story and your journey and your vulnerability are amazing. But more importantly than that, Gavin Parker's never lost touch with who Gavin Parker is, and who you are is someone that truly is changing the game. And as someone in the game, I'm extremely grateful for you. I'm extremely excited to see where this takes you. Your accolades and the things you've done are cool, but really who you are as a human is what makes you so amazing. You're the man, dude. And I want you to try and explain this, right? Because in this podcast, no, you froze there, man. I think your power pellet shut down there for a second.
Can you get me now?
We got you. You're there. You're there.
Okay, I'm so sorry.
No, it's all good, man. For me, right, when Casey and I decided to start this podcast, we decided to call it Earn Not Given, because everything in life right now in the world, right, just seems like, hey, we're entitled or we should be gifted something. But your story shows that you earned this platform. It definitely wasn't given to you. You've had your adversity through it. But what does the title Earn Not Given mean to Gavin Parker?
Whoo. You said something earlier, bro, that cracked me up, man. And I mean, didn't mean crack me up, but it just made so much sense. It's like, it started off as a passion for me, golf, right? Started off as a passion, but it had to evolve into a purpose, where I think a lot of people rely on their passion and they lose sight of passions are just momentary, man. I get passionate about working out, and yeah, I'm great, but to do it in the rain, to do it when I don't feel good, you got to have a purpose. So I think you got to work to get anything. So the fact that like you got to earn it, it's not given to you. You got to go after it. No one out here really cares. You know what I'm saying? Like you got to put in, I don't mean really care, but like, okay, cool, Gavin, you got 140 followers on Instagram. Who cares? Like, what are you doing with it? Like, you got to earn it. So when it comes to earn not given, man, you got to work, and nothing. And nothing but work works. You know what I'm saying? Like that, like at the end of the day, if you nothing but work works, man, and you gotta work. And without that work, nothing's gonna happen. And at the end of the day, if you're frugal with yourself, if you're frugal with your own time, you're gonna get everything out of it. Like whatever your input is normally related to your outcome. And if you don't work, no wonder your outcome's not changing, man. And that's what earn not given means to me. It's like, bro, forget your passion, ladies and gentlemen. Go with your purpose, because your passions are momentary. Also, stop using fun to describe everything when it comes to junior golf, bro. That is such a that's not cutting it. That's not getting kids to come back. Oh, did you have fun today, Johnny? Yes or no? Like, bro, what? Like, that's horrible. Like, we're really trying to get rid of that word in junior golf, because I feel like that's the one where, oh, it's gonna be fun. Gavin makes golf fun. No, Gavin does way more than that, man. It's not the 60 minutes, man. It's what happens in those 60 minutes of our academy, bro. And we're earning the opportunity to experience fun with these kids. It's not just, oh, because I set up these colored balls, it looks fun. No, you still got to make something. You got to work to make that thing work.
Love that, man. I'm extremely grateful that I earned the privilege of sitting down and talking to you. You are the man, dude. I cannot wait to see you continue to push this industry forward. I can't wait to consume that content of you being real, being the super dad, being the amazing coach, being the amazing human, and finding more ways to maybe get 8 power pellets a day instead of 4, and finding ways to cultivate that. Because, dude, you really crushed it today. I appreciate you. The world of golf appreciates you, man. Thank you so much, dude. You also don't just hit 500 balls without a thought.
Welcome to Earned Not Given.